Earth debate live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now, we are joined by Refracted Curvature, Neil, and a whole bunch of people in the Flat Earth Debate Discord server, so welcome one and all.
How are you?
Very good. How are you?
Ballers can't be saying what's up no more.
No.
Just realize that.
Up is perpendicular to a plane of reference. I've actually got some music to play after this little interlude and discussion that starts the show off. So about, I don't know, 3 or 4 days ago, 10th Man produced a song, passed it on to me and said, "Are you going to play this on the show?" And I was like, yeah, of course. And then I subsequently edited it together with a load of microphones in the background, just so there was something to have on the video itself. But as of yet, there's only a handful of people that have heard it as a unlisted video. So in a few moments, we will get to that song, which is called Lite, Don't Lie by 10th Man Rising. But we'll get to that shortly. How are you all in Discord? We're all really good, Nathan. Thanks for asking. Oh, well, I'm really pleased to have you all here. It's good.
Yeah. Good morning, Nathan. Good. Out in the window. It's horrible.
You've reminded me to do a shout out to you, Len, who I keep giving the wrong name, even though you've told me twice. Thank you, Len, and Paula, and D Rose for supporting me via PayPal. I really, really appreciate it. So, most, if not all, of the money I'm getting via PayPal is currently getting funneled directly onto my wife to keep her motivated to do transcription work on the book. So, I am extremely grateful to be in a position to do that. And so thank you. It's really, really appreciated. I realised that you, Len, said it's for candy floss, but no, it probably won't go on candy floss. It'll go on keeping my wife motivated away from her actual work and doing mine. So I'm really grateful to everybody who's been giving me money recently via PayPal. Thank you so much. Just know it's not actually going into my pocket. It's going into my wife's. Now, we're in the same house. Obviously, it's all part of the same pot. But I just want to make you aware of that. But I think that's probably why people have been giving me money. Number one, because I'm moaning that I'm poor. And number two, because they're aware that I'm literally paying my wife to do work that I've spent 12 months already doing once. Very annoying. But outside of my annoyance to it, I've also gained a new degree of motivation to describe some of the things that have been experienced over the 10 or 11 years of doing this subject of Flat Earth. And in every single endeavour to write a new anecdote about the subject of Earth being measured flat, I can now, with the knowledge that we have currently got, incorporate those facts into the embarrassing feast of nonsense as I look back on it, in things like the Isle of Man discussion, utilisation of the curve calculator. And for anybody who's unfamiliar with this, it's unlikely, but it might be a newbie that's in the audience. The begging the question, proof of nothing perspective, hijacking Earth curve calculator is a game that we play where the measurements of Earth inputted into the calculator are ignored after they've been punched in. They're just treated as values used as a means to an end. The end being arguing about where Earth curve should reside below surface level, which is measured for your height perpendicular with respect to it. That's altitude with respect to sea level. And your horizontal linear flat Earth measurement of distance that also gets punched into it for your prerequisite requirement for parallel eye level. also utilised and labelled in the begging the question, proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator. So as I'm writing that, not that sentence, but the sentiment about the Earth curve calculator and its use back in the day with Anthony Riley, I'm constantly reminding my soon-to-be reading audience member who buys the book and reads about this stuff how embarrassing it is to reflect upon us not noticing. And in the pre-show, we were discussing exactly that, how cognitively expensive this argument has been made in the mind's eye of anybody who comes across it. There's a shortcut that seems to be required so that you don't have to spend huge amounts of mental energy figuring out how the curve calculator functions. And seeing somebody else tell you that it's science, we've figured it out already, it's definitely ball-shaped. You can go, all right, you figured it out, it's science, therefore empirical, therefore we already know Earth's a ball, and this maths that I don't really understand proves that, does it? Yes, sir. Now watch flat earthers and anti-flat earthers argue about how far the geometric sphere edge horizon should be. All designed for one purpose, to get you, and me in this instance, self-referenced in the book, to whistle past how flat Earth gets measured, with horizontal distance, perpendicular height of eye level above sea level. That's what it's designed to do. Make you ignore that before you do anything, you're required to measure Earth flat 3 different ways. But if you can ignore all of those facts, you can argue about where the geometric physical sphere edge horizon might reside below the surface level. So that's the point. Now, 10 or 11 years into the discussion, we can highlight this with exceptional consistency and clarity. And it is a very simple argument once you understand it. Further to that, you realise there was no argument. If both sides are utilising prerequisites that only exist on a flat Earth for the measurements thereof, you don't need to argue about anything. Earth's being measured flat by everyone, in all circumstances, and without exception. Earth is flat. That's how it's measured. We checked. Who wants a song?
It would seem.
Well, okay, John, you first.
Yeah, you go.
I was just going to say it would seem almost a red herring to ask them where Earth curve is, given that the measurements are all planar in nature. It's like we're inviting them to give us a bad answer, like asking AI to give you an answer when there isn't one.
Yeah, there isn't a requirement for one.
I was just going to say there's not an argument, and why would people argue on something they agree upon? And we all agree, them too, right? Because they're using it flat. So where's the argument?
There isn't one. There never was and there never will be. Creating the impression of an argument was the trick that we all fell for 10 years. And you summarised it on Thursday of last week, Neil, when you said that the roads to flat Earth are paved with conspiracy. To have all roads seem like the flat Earth is a conspiracy makes you, the person peddling the idea, the belief in a flat Earth, seem ludicrous if you then go on to talk about 9/11 truth, that there's a magic bullet for Charlie Kirk, whatever you're talking about that's conspiratorial in nature and essentially undermines the facts in the discussion that there shouldn't be. There shouldn't be a discussion about Earth and its quote-unquote shape when all aspects of Earth are measured flat without exception. The arbiter of what Earth is in that regard are the measurements, and they are flat. For everyone, always. If you can get it to seem like, well, it's about 9/11 truth. It's about Mandela effect. It's about clone centres. It's about Tartaria. It's about psychopathy or subliminal messaging. It's about anything but the measurements of Earth. Then when that person comes across the curve calculator, they're blinded by the complexity. And they don't notice the wood for the trees. The wood being the flat Earth measurements you punch into those calculations. The measurements are of Earth. The calculations are of a fantasy. The ball Earth is a fantasy based on flat Earth measurements.
It's almost like asking someone to count the number of passes on the black team, right? You're getting them to miss it by focusing their attention somewhere else.
Exactly. The magician waves the wand for a reason, so that you don't notice him palming the coin. That's the point of the wand. And like John's example, if you can get two teams bouncing balls and you say, pick a team and count how many bounces, and then once you're done, they go, right, you got your answer? And you go, yep, definitely 67. You go, did you notice the bear walking through the scene? And you go, bear? You go, yeah, bear. Did you notice it? You go, no. You go, bloody hell, I didn't notice the bear when you shown the replay. And they go, right, so it was all about the bear. And you go, no. Did you notice that the background changed colour? And you go, what? No, I didn't notice that either. And before you realise...
I see.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I see. So that's what the Earth curve calculator was for. Look over here. Tell us what's going on over here. So you miss all the flat Earth measurements that are right in front of you.
Yeah, they need to distract away from them. Because if it's too obvious that they're using the same measurements of Earth that would prove it's flat, then the game's ended before it's begun. So you need to simultaneously figure a way of utilising flat Earth prerequisites, elevation, angle measurements, perpendiculars, up, down, directionality, north, south, east, west. If you can figure a way of incorporating all of this stuff into a ball, like on screen now, where would north, south, east and west appear? Well, on a plane, on the circle, two-dimensionally, flat. But that's in a ball. Well, there's still a ball, right? What's this? Parallel with the ball, in a ball, with a north pole running down it as an axis? That's confusing. Yeah, it is. That's the point. Make it as confusing as possible so that you don't recognise how Earth is actually being measured and utilised in all examples and without exception. Flat for everyone. Make it complicated. The simplistic truth is always going to be the thing that wins out, though. And the simple reality of Earth being measured, navigated, mapped, charted, flown over, sailed upon, flat, is the easy and simple fact that everybody must cope with and deal with. So when you get people telling us, well, it's measured locally flat, that's because when they've looked into the measurements, they've realised they're flat and want to continue to believe in a ball and justify the use of the flat measurements. So locally flat. It's like, why are you apologising for how flat we have to measure Earth? Locally doesn't mean anything. Measurement means something, flat means something. In this context, that's what Earth's being measured as. But it's only local. Okay, so we only measure Earth locally flat. So Earth's measured flat then? Yeah, it is. But that doesn't mean it's not a ball. Sea level bends. Okay, well, if you want to believe that, it doesn't alter what you will still use while you justify how level can still be bending. Your measurement and application thereof will always be flat, regardless of your justification and apology for it, and then explanation that violates the law of non-contradiction thereafter, saying that level isn't level anymore because my level, the ground I believe we're standing on, and measuring flat, curves in my belief system. Therefore, I'll violate the law of non-contradiction while simultaneously holding it to be true when we measure Earth.
You can't say level curves and use the Earth curve calculator at the same time.
No,
It's
surface
impossible.
level's flat.
Like the guy yesterday, wasn't it? You know, after watching the presentation for an hour, which clearly the PhD guy clearly shown a post stuck into the ground, and then he referenced the horizontal line as the ground, and then measured the shadow of the vertical post stuck in the ground across the ground. And then the guy come on and said, it's got nothing to do with the ground.
Yeah, until they need the ground to be the application of the measurement. The trick is, measure the ground, but say it's not the ground, until we're calculating that measurement of a flat ground into sphericity. Then it's the ground.
Yeah, it's just not their ground. When they say not the ground, they mean not the globe ground. And we know that.
That should have been my reply yesterday, rather than losing my temper.
Yeah, it's a good reply, that, when you used it the other week.
Not your ground. Not your curved ground, it isn't. It's flat ground that we're measuring. Right, who wants to do a 10th man song?
Me, I heard it already, but I'll hear it again.
So this is 6 minutes, so it's going to be reasonably lengthy, just for those of you who might want to fast forward it because you don't want a song, you just want to hear us talking. But this is called Lite, Don't Lie, and it's by 10th Man Rising.
Don't lie. From zero rise to zenith's crown, the angles hold, they don't back down. Each degree, 16 nautical miles, the count repeats, all on one line beneath our feet. From zero climb to 90 high, 5,400 nautical miles lie. No arc below, no sphere to mend, one flat baseline shared end to end. Light, don't lie, the truth's in frame. 290s meet and call by name. The measure's clean, the angles don't break. No curving ground, no mirrored fake. The stars declare in pure delight. Flat distance marks the grand design. Light, don't lie, it holds the line. Truth in measure, pure and fine. The angle's arc is not the floor, it frames the view, but nothing more. The angle starts from horizon C, a straight line base to geometry. Diverging beams from stars afar meet the baseline just where they are. Each measured rise, each sextant glance proves angles true, not chance or dance. Light, don't lie, and baseline stay fixed and level every day. From zenith roof to horizons run, one long baseline beneath the sun. No arcs distorted, no heights to feign. Flat precision holds the rein. Light, don't lie, it's clear and plain. Truth and measure, no refrain. Equal circles trace the field, angles measured, no myths concealed. Two right angles, one shared span, proved by sight and hand of man. Distance runs straight, direction true, not bent by creed, it's geometry. Light, don't lie, it shows the way, flat and true, no games to play. The eye to star, horizon guides, draws the law creation tide. From angles root, the truth will climb, each minute known, each mile in time. The arc of stars made on the view, the baseline measured won't bend it through. Each fix you find, each plotted way rests on a plane that will not sway. Light, don't lie, the truth's in frame. 290s meet and call by name. The measure's clean, the angles don't break. No curving ground, no mirrored fake. The stars declare in pure delight. Flat distance marks the grand design. Light, don't lie, it holds the line. Truth in measure, pure and fine. Truth in measure, pure and fine. Not bent by creed. It's geometry, geometry. The stars declare in pure delight. Baseline beneath the sun. No curve can ride. in straight repose. The measure lock, the circle shows. From GP light to zenith line. Symmetry born in the grand design. No skyward curve, no waving floor. The flat span stands forevermore. Light don't lie, it's set in stone. Truth in measure stands alone. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so, and God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also, and God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good, and the evening and the morning were the fourth day. From eye to star, from sea to span, measured truth defines the plan. It's not illusion nor belief, just calm precision past all grief. So mark it straight and let it live. No curve can rise where 90s give. Light don't lie, it's clear to see, flat and true, continually. Flat and true, continually. Continually.
That was Light Don't Lie by 10th Man Rising. So I will put a link after the fact into the live stream comment section, or the video's comment section once it's finished live. And you can go and check out 10th Man's channel. Most of it isn't music, just so you know. He's a flat earther talking about flat earth stuff. But he has, on occasion, got the intonation to make some music, and that's an example of it. So once again, that was Light Don't Lie by 10th Man Rising. Big shout out to you, 10th Man. Really appreciate it. Excellent stuff. We all enjoy that?
Absolutely. Great song. I like it.
That's great.
I like at the end when he went to scripture.
Yeah, it's good. Well, he's a very Christian guy, so makes sense that he'd use scripture and use it as his palette. Very good.
Yeah,
Well,
good that.
I like it because it. Go ahead, one deck.
I'm just saying I enjoyed that. Good, some nice lyrics in there. The vibe, I don't know. I was trying to think. It reminded me of a group. I don't know if it was Dire Straits sort of
Yes.
sound in there.
That's because the guy sounds like Dire Straits.
Yeah, it was good. Truth and straight, never lie. Or truth and measure, lie. That was a good lyric in there. Nice one, Sam. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did too.
Mark Knopfler.
Mark Knopfler, yeah, that's it. I mean,
Anyway.
it was no Earth is a Giant Roast Chicken, but it was a really good song.
No, I was going to say, I like the scripture because that's what it says, what the stars are, what we use them for, what God intended them for. It gets into the firmament. Now, we know that we need gas pressure. We know that we need containment. I'm not saying that the firmament is, but I do know that we are contained.
Yeah, indeedy. I have gas pressure without a container. Outer space is fake. But again, to me, the whole notion of space itself is designed to take you away from the flat Earth measurements that are being utilised, even by claim to be travellers through space. They're still using flat Earth prerequisites to describe altitude, perpendicularity, even measurements of the stars with sextants. They're using flat Earth prerequisites left and right.
Pardon me, space is defined as length, width, and height.
Yeah, I'm talking about outer space, the sky vacuum that's alleged to be above our head at 10 to the minus 17 Tor.
But that's not out. So
No. Just up, measured from sea level. In which case, contextually, space would be a perfectly appropriate description.
yeah, just the idea of an infinitely expanding nothingness with a pizza or a ball flying around in it is absurd.
I mean, the pizza would be more accurate in terms of how that they put a flat plane into orbital mechanics. So if you look at how an orbit functions, you've got the line, I think trajectory would be the correct term, for the ball to move around the sun. That line that the ball moves along is actually bifurcating the Earth through the equatorial plane derived from the radial value measured at the minimum of Polaris. Therefore, to say that you've got a pizza flying around the sun is a far more appropriate way of describing the derivation of orbital mechanics.
Yes, that is true.
The equatorial plane that's measured that they've put into motion around the sun. So, ironically, I can't believe we've just come across another one of those scenarios where they project upon us what is part of their rhetoric. I can't believe we've just figured this out. This is something new every day. So, often we'll describe how they've got edges for boats to fall over in the description of, say, Cook. So I can't remember, I think it was Gin saying that in the Hamlet cigar advert, you've got a character on a boat coming to the edge of the earth, mocking flat earthers while he smokes a Hamlet cigar saying happiness is a cigar called Hamlet. And the gag being that Columbus, who's being used in that example, finds his way to the edge of a flat earth. Now that's a description that's foisted upon us because in the begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking earth curve calculator that uses flat earth measurements like perpendicularity and horizontal linear distance measurements, they suggest that their boats fall over the horizon. So they project their weakest part of their own argument onto us. So they create a straw man for us to fight against. Well, we've just come up with another one, another example of a straw man that's created where a pizza Earth, a flat disk in space, is alleged to be our version of a reality we're strawmanned with because it's an argument created on our behalf for us to fight and brace against, when in reality, the equatorial plane, derived from flat Earth measurements of minimums of stars reaching the horizon, creates a flat planar surface to bastardize into sphericity. But it's revealed in the line of orbital motion that traverses or bifurcates the globe Earth at the equatorial plane. So a more accurate description for them and their orbital mechanics, that's heliocentrists being them, is a flat pizza Earth travelling around the sun. That's their orbital model derived from flat Earth measurements. So what do? Tell us we've got a pizza flying around the sun. I didn't think we'd get to any more of those, John. I didn't think there was more, but there's another example of, would you call it inversion? Or it's like a burden of proof reversal, but not. It's like projecting your own weak argument onto your opponent, so they have to defend it rather than yourself. There's got to be a word for it. I just don't know what it is.
I don't know the word, but yeah, that's another one of them.
Weird when you think of all those things that we've had to defend over the years, where you're like, I don't say Earth's a pizza pie flying around the sun. Yeah, but you do. You heliocentrists absolutely require a pizza pie. That would be the equatorial plane flying around the sun.
And I love that. Sorry, Neil.
No, go ahead.
I'm just saying, I love that concept of that because I use that and we all use it. With the Eratosthenes, I know I keep going on about that sometimes, but, when they start saying, well, you give me some flat earth proof then, I'll say, well, Eratosthenes, there's your flat earth proof. So what these things that they've thrown in our face, they should be thrown back at them as our proof of a flat earth because it really shuts them up. It's a great tactic to use.
Shout out to Click, who says, "Hi, Kindred. I'm still seeing a flat Earth. Globe emoji. And it says not, as in not a globe. Thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate the support.
There is something powerful in taking someone's belief and showing them, that it's proof of your knowledge.
Huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Hold on, we got a huh and a yeah, exactly. So I'll go with the
Say
huh.
that again, John.
Yeah, say that again.
There is something powerful in taking someone's belief and showing them that it is proof of what you know.
Oh, okay. You added the now I got you. Absolutely.
Yeah. So they believe Eratosthenes measured the circumference of Earth, but we know he measured a flat Earth, and then did some mathematical, equations and calculations afterwards, which has got nothing to do with the actual measurement. So their belief that that's proof of a globe Earth is our knowledge, and we know that's a flat Earth elevation angle measurement that he was measuring.
Well, because of this, it's like all the ballers, all the old names that we're familiar with. What they're doing immediately now is they're going to space, and they're talking about the sun and the moon, and because of parallax, they can know that the moon is closer than the Earth is, than the sun is to the Earth. So that's where they're going to be now. They're going to be in Narnia because they don't want to deal with the measurements.
Well, they still got to deal with the measurements because length, width, and height is what you got to deal with in space. And the ascending nodes of their orbital mechanics to describe any of this, all of these things are based and require a flat plane to reference.
Oh, dear.
Yep, all roads truly do lead to a flat Earth. And it makes it all the more true and recognisable why you need all conspiracy roads to lead to flat Earth, right, Neil?
Yeah, because then flat Earth is a conspiracy itself. They was very clever how they did it.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about earlier. So on screen now, you've got the begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator. And at first glance, you go, wow, this is quite complicated, isn't it? You got the tilt, hidden values, drop. You've got the distance measurement, linear. You've got your horizon below surface level. You've got your height of eye measured off the ball. It all looks very complicated. Right until you realise that there's two main fundamentals that must be measured. One is this. It's called surface level. The other is parallel with it, and it's called eye level. And height is perpendicular to the first flat Earth prerequisite, surface level. So what you're actually looking at is the claim in unorthographic representation. That's to say you're seeing the side of your own head. This is supposed to be the side of you. You never get this view. You never see the side of your own head. But in order to hijack perspective and suggest that you see a horizon in an orthographic view below a flat Earth measured prerequisite called surface level, you need all of this guff to make it seem cognitively expensive to process. With all of this, you don't notice this. You don't notice that you've got to measure surface level and height of eye perpendicular to it and eye level parallel with it. These are prerequisites required to make this calculation, not measurement, work. The measurements are flat. The distance is linear, horizontal, and with respect to surface level, as acquired when we used to do it at the Isle of Man from Google Earth.
Yeah, and the horizon is defined as where surface level appears to meet the sky. So it can't exist below surface level. That doesn't make any sense.
No. They've taken something that we experience, which is called perspective, and reclaimed it mathematically as Earth curve. That's the trick. Now, knowing that trick isn't necessary anymore because it's cheaper, cognitively cheaper, to understand what measurements are plugged into those maths. Once you know that the distance that you're going to use is horizontal and linear, and that your height off the surface level are both measurement values of Earth and its flat surface, you don't need to know anything else. Because Earth can only be measured flat to use those maths. At which point, why do you need to know how the maths work? Earth's been measured flat.
And once you know that the horizon has never been defined as a physical location, there can be never any mathematical calculations to give it a distance to.
Yeah. And again, knowing that the horizon is an optical phenomenon formed by the limitation of any lens that's viewing it. That's to say, it's representing a diffraction limit, the point where you can no longer resolve information in the distance. That's a description of perspective. And to quote Conspiracy Cats, I'll give you a flat Earth for that, because there's no other way to measure it. Once you know,
that's what
you know. Go ahead, Neil.
I was going to say. That's when it started falling apart for them. That's when they started realizing that we were realizing it. No longer whistling past it. We're going to plant our flag there.
Yeah, just going to stop right here. So for you to progress in this claim to be debate, you've got to measure Earth flat. Okay, you got two choices. Sink to your knees and acknowledge how flat you, globe believer, are required to measure Earth, or relinquish your measurements. Those are your only two choices. If you relinquish your measurements, you've got nothing to make a claim with. If you accept the Earth being flat by way of your measurement of it flat, then Earth is flat. That's how you require it to be measured. Here's the example of that straw man we covered earlier. So, suggest that the pizza pie flat Earth disk in space is something that I should defend. This is what's on screen now. What are we actually detailing in reality when we describe orbital mechanics? We're describing the plane derived from the equator, otherwise known as the equatorial plane, moving in a motion around the sun, only capable of description by way of a measurement of Earth's flat surface level with elevation angles. That's a new one, eh, Neil? Boats going over the horizon. Now the pizza pie flying in a sky vacuum is actually a projection of their own inadequacies in debate and argument that's created after measuring Earth flat for an equatorial plane to fly around the sun. Isn't that nuts? They project everything that's wrong with their own arguments onto us. And us, in that projection, are conspiratards, idiots that get here from various subjects that have got nothing to do with Earth measurement.
Well, if you think about it, that's the only road they could take.
Yeah, they've got to ridicule it somehow. They need to use it, so they need us to be arguing about whether or not they're hiding God.
Well, it goes right back to the beginning. I've said this before. I think I was in kindergarten or first grade when they show you the picture of people sailing, going over the edge. And then they start teaching you how in years past they thought the earth was flat. But now that we know it's a globe, and all the kids laughed at the picture of the dumb people thinking that the earth was flat, going over the edge. So it starts right there. That's where the inception was.
Yeah,
Then they measured it flat.
Yeah. They get you when you're young. Everyone
So
wants to
why
be a
change the
spaceman.
strategy, right? When this topic came out, put them in the conspiracy realm so they could be laughed at.
Yeah, the first thing I got to
We'll
when I
have
got
to.
here was Jesse Spots. Anybody know who Jesse Spots is?
Only from you.
Literally one of the first or second things I heard. So you go, okay, here's Math Powerland telling me Earth's flat. What else is out there? Well, there's this dude called Jesse Spots talking about how Mandela effect is real and how Taylor Swift's a clone. And we've got these cloning centres that are producing clone human beings. A bit like I think the movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger's called Eighth Day. The Eighth Day, something like that. Very.
Yeah, don't change what works.
Unknown.
Say again?
It's all about having ideas in the unknown. Everything you work with is unknown, so you don't ever actually deal with what you know. That's where they want to exist, in the unknown. That's what the globe is. It's an argument for ignorance.
Yeah, but I mean, the only reason we're able to clone people is because of the Anunnaki in outer space over the ice wall, on the other lands with the other suns who are controlling us from beyond the wall, obviously.
That's funny, but that's why we're so dangerous when we point out the measurements, because it's no longer anything else but the measurements and what the measurements say it is.
Yeah, it stops being about clone centers. It stops being about 9/11 truth. It stops being about Mandela effect. It stops being about subliminal messaging. It stops being about astronauts and NASA, and just becomes about the measurements everybody's using. And they're flat. But you can't have normal people talking about that sort of stuff. You need conspiracy idiots to be talking about it so they can be easily cast to one side. I mean, you've heard it in the last couple of months being told that, well, Earth just being a flat plane, like on screen now, to describe orbital motion. This is the disk I was talking about. This is their disk. What have I added to this picture? The words, this is a flat plane, and a dude standing where the angle's measured. But without that dude standing there, and without me pointing out that this is a flat plane, what have you got?
Just have a look. And then...
Hey, Craig. Without that highlighted, you just see this and go, well, this looks complicated. This is the globe Earth, right? We've got the North Pole at the top, an axis of rotation, an orbital plane, the description of the equatorial plane, perigee and apogee, vernal equinox, ascending nodes, a satellite being described with an angle, measured off a planar surface. It all looks very complicated. What in reality is it? Well, it's a derivation of a flat Earth angle measurement to Polaris to give you this circle that's flat, called the equatorial plane. This is what they will put in motion around the sun. And where can you stand to be measuring the angle to the satellite in this example? Well, in hell, if the ball is an axis with North Pole measured, as described, on this, like it's at your zenith. No, North isn't ever at your zenith. You might say that the pole star is at your zenith if you're at the North Pole. Why do they call it a pole? Well, because it's linguistically programming you into the acceptance of a ball, when in reality, North is anything but ball-shaped. It's planar. It's a direction, two-dimensional, from a compass. Planar. North would be here. South, east, and west, all on a plane. It's the only way it can be described. But if you can put this disk, that's a heliocentric equatorial plane, see, equator, this is what's put in motion around the sun. Yeah? The angles that are derived from it to the stars are nothing more than a glorified protractor. But if you colour in this area with a map and then put that around the sun, You, as an onlooker, go, okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Ball Earth, like I was taught in school, moving around the sun. Here it is from a different view. Here's the same position. There's just no dude. It's not small enough. It's not big enough, rather, to put the tiny little dude inside. But it's the same exact principle with the extended celestial equator, otherwise known as the celestial plane, extending beyond the glorified protractor we call a globe Earth. Where does the angle measurement emanate from? Does it measure from the surface? On the contrary, it emanates from the centre of hell. If you're going to pretend that this disc, like we just saw in the previous depiction, moves around the sun. That's what they've done. They've taken flat Earth measurements, turned them into a pizza pie with a protractor wrapped around it, coloured the protractor in like it's a map, and then put that in motion around the sun. All you really need to know is what's being measured. In this case, there's only one measurement on screen. It's called this degree measurement at 40 with a little degree symbol. 40 degrees. 40 degrees of what? A planar surface and an intersecting line at a vertex, otherwise known as an angle measurement. That's the only thing being measured. According to this diagrammatical example, you need to be in hell to measure it. Anybody in hell? Hands up. No, nobody? No, you're never in hell. You're just on the planar surface to get the angle. Because all measurements of Earth's surface are flat. There aren't any exceptions to that. The deviation of the topology is also measured with respect to horizontal, with a linear horizontal distance to reference the deviation from the run in rise over run. That's surveying Earth as a flat plane with the hills and valleys described as a deviation from the horizontal measured in miles or kilometres. Earth's measured flat in all examples and there aren't any exceptions.
That was wonderfully explained. So dazzle them with bullshit. That's what they did.
Yes.
With that first thing you had up.
Perfect term. Baffle them with bullshit. Make it cognitively expensive. Now, after 10 years of understanding it, we can get to the nitty-gritty of what's really being used and how flat Earth is always being measured. But it's taken 10 years to get there. Now, for your average Joe, he doesn't need any of what I've just explained. He just needs to know how Earth gets measured. Here's the measurement on screen for the sun. So you could say, well, my understanding is that if we go down to Antarctica, whoa. First of all, you're going south. South's a flat direction. So you go south, and then you see the sun and measure it with respect to a planar surface for a 24-hour period. Suddenly you're being asked to explain why the sun does something in the sky, like a phenomenon. Well, you could explain that through the scientific method. If you want an answer to a cause for an effect that you're observing, that would be within the purview of the scientific method. But what's the empirical measurement being made? Well, it's a flat Earth prerequisite elevation angle to the sun. That's what's actually being measured. So what do you need to process? You need to process something that you don't have an answer for when describing south incorrectly as down. It isn't. What is down? Perpendicular to a plane of reference also. Like up. But if you can bastardize north into a pole and south into a downward direction, then you can wrap a map around a protractor and ask a non-believer in your religion of a ball with angles terminating in hell why the sun moves around your position if you're in Antarctica at a given time of year. When you understand that travelling south is a flat-only direction and that the measurements of the sun when you get there are off a flat plane, you've just travelled flat and then measured the sun flat. And those measurements are what created the ball to be asking about why a sun would be doing anything in context of that ball that's been made with flat Earth measurements. You're off mute, Flat Arthur.
Sorry.
Right. Yeah, it's all a game, but you don't need to be privileged. You don't need to spend 10 years researching it and figure out what the wood is, what the trees are, how they relate to each other, what they're suggesting they calculate from both wood and tree. When you know that the entire forest is measured flat, who cares what the trees are doing? It doesn't matter anymore. Earth's measured flat by everybody. When they describe what the wood and trees are doing, they're using the same flat ground that we would use. So if you know it's measured flat, you don't need anything else. You don't need to figure out how the calculation works. Here's another example of their pizza pie with an actual dude standing in the middle of it. All you need to do is colour in the black and white crosses. Oh, there's extra ones outside it. This area here, colour that in as a ball, and Bob's your uncle, right? Other than the fact that the measurements with planar directionalities, west, east, south, north, all flat. It's the only way they can be described. It's what catches out most of my commenters from the ball side currently. When they come to my comment section and start asking me how longitude functions when you travel west. And I go, west? You mean a flat earth only direction? Why would I answer you about your need to find out how longitude works when you're giving me flat earth prerequisites as part of your question?
So it all started with a plain flat pizza.
Yeah. That they put in motion with the protractor wrapped around it that they later colour in with a map they call the ball earth. This is it. It's on screen. This is the trick. But then when you actually look at what's being measured in this diagram? Well, a couple of things. Directionality, north, south, east and west. And angles. Right ascension. Declination.
It is without a doubt the weirdest religion on flat Earth.
It is.
How did we miss it?
But there is a comparable religion that also gets mocked. I still haven't quite figured out how this all fits together. But Scientology is a branch of heliocentrism that is 99.9% identical to the rest of the one world religion of heliocentrism. There's very little to distinguish between heliocentrism and Scientology. They are essentially the same thing. There is no difference.
Have you got an example of that, Nathan?
Yeah, the entire system of Scientology is based in a heliocentric worldview where the world travels around the sun. Everything about Scientology, Xenu, the aliens, the whole thing is based out in space on planets. That's entirely heliocentric by derivation. Now, the fact that they've all come from the same German ex-scientists after the war that create these religious beliefs and put them in motion in the same heliocentric system that was created several hundred years ago is no coincidence. In my opinion, the only thing I can feasibly conceive as a reason to have these two things align with one another so perfectly is so that should heliocentrism fail as a one world religion, it can be kept in a nice neat box on the shelf ready to be pulled back out again. And that's where Scientology comes in. You need to keep it as a religion so that should it be reacquired in the future, 500 years from now, it's tightly packaged up, ready to be reutilised, and the information doesn't get forgotten. But, I mean, that's purely my speculation. I have no idea if that's the reason for the existence of Scientology. What I do know for an absolute fact is Scientology and heliocentrism are one for one. They are the same. There's no, give me a difference between heliocentrism and Scientology. Name one difference.
Sounds like a conspiracy to me.
Well, it's Scientology is a subset cult of the heliocentric religion. So
Yes.
it's a subset. It's not the actual set itself.
Correct. It's a derivation of heliocentrism. It's based in the heliocentric worldview. But like I said, that's why I can say they are one for one. There's no difference. If you ask a Scientologist, are we moving around the sun? Well, of course we are. We're on a big planet. A huge part of their religion is based on having an outer space to believe in, to have their thetans come from. Well, the moment you shatter the worldview of heliocentrism, what does Scientology have left as its foundation? Absolutely nothing is the answer to that.
Yeah, you shatter it with measurements. Once you measure Earth flat, the solar system means nothing anymore.
Yeah, you've got your pizza pie moving around the sun in an orbital motion that requires flat planar measurements like on screen now for this altitude angle. Yeah, you do require that. You do require being in hell to describe the prerequisite measurements to create the heliocentric motion that Scientologists utilise to their own ends in their own cult-like belief. Doesn't change what directions are. They're on screen now. North, south, east and west are flat planar directionalities. Nothing's going to change that. Describing north as an axis through a ball doesn't change that the prerequisite measurements of the surface, described from within the ball, also have the same labelled directionalities on a flat plane. Only useful if you're describing the angle measurement as is depicted here from hell. If this is a hemispherical view of the ball that you're standing in, not on, to create a ball world view. You're never on a ball. You never were, mathematically. And to create the impression that there is a ball in existence to begin with, you must and can only measure Earth flat to achieve those ends.
I mean, this is what, he's not here at the moment, is he, refracted, but when he was going up against Albi Ruhith and Toon, was it? He said, you can have anything you want. You know, you can have the celestial sphere, you can have the equatorial, whatever you want to use, we'll use, because you will be using a flat horizontal plane in every instance. And that's true.
What did you call him?
Albi Ruhith.
Albi Ruhith. Albi Ruhith knew the globe was flat. He measured the height of a mountain like that.
Well, we're on
he
the
did
subject.
with a theodolite.
I've just got a quick question, just for my own benefit. How's that geometric horizon working out for you there, Ruhith? Good? Well?
His answer is it's the apparent horizon, and we cannot see it because of refraction. Something to that effect.
Yeah, you're going to need a surface level measurement to acquire your height thereof to describe the non-geometric horizon below surface level. How interesting.
Yeah, he swears. He was telling the guys in Earth Awakenings that it is a physical place that you can measure. It's just that you can't know because light bends. Right? So because the bending of light, you can't get a proper measurement to it.
Maybe you should take it up with Conspiracy Cats when he describes perspective with respect to a flat planar surface. Or to give a quote to make it more concise. I'll give you a flat earth for that perspective. Is that light bending? Really? How are you going to describe the diffraction limit? How are you going to describe perspective angles? You're not, is the answer. You will measure Earth flat for all those things, though.
That never made sense to me because if there's something physical in the distance and tangible, then there's no doubt about it that you can get a measurement to it. So the fact that they could never get an accurate measurement to the horizon tells you that it's not tangible.
So what have we got to go on? Elevation angle measurements to Polaris and their minimum to derive a radial value that's plugged into a begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator that infers if you measure your horizontal linear distance measurement and perpendicular eye level off surface level, you can infer that there's a geometric physical sphere edge horizon below the surface level you've actually measured. That's what they require. You're going to need a flat Earth for all that garbage, and obviously unpacking that for an audience really does us no justice at all. Because what did we plug into those mathematics to have this argument with Albi Ruhith in this instance? Flat Earth horizontal linear measurements of distance and perpendicular eye level off surface level. Earth's measured flat to have this argument. So why have the argument?
Agreed.
There was never an argument to begin with.
had some good points there. I think it was really interesting. Not like you're ending the show or anything, but like, yeah, I really enjoyed it so far. Really precise, really some interesting facts and details. Excellent.
Absolutely.
I was actually going to round
Absolutely.
out. Go ahead, whoever that was.
No, I'm agreeing with one deck. A lot of information. The way you laid it out, perfect.
Well, we're going to
Very easy to understand.
We're going to get into the song. So this song is called If Earth Was a Big Roast Chicken. It's by the guy I just spoke 2 seconds ago, called Wandek.
I'm spitting facts that Earth's measured flat. You might not like that, but facts are facts. Vertical heights from surface level. Horizontal linear measurements on the scale of maps axiomatically proves that. Ooh, you might not like that, but facts are facts. And I'm spitting it flat and that perpendicular to a plane of reference that's height right parallel flight level above sea level. If the earth was flat, we would measure it flat. We measure it flat, so earth is flat. And I'm spitting facts about that. You might not like that. You can't assume earth a sphere by circular reasoning, but when you measure it flat, it contradicts that. I'm spitting flat facts and that. And I know you don't like that. Google Maps is flat, it presents elevation profiles like that. I'm a spitting flat earth king. Sentence has a ring, doing my own thing. If earth was a big roast chicken, factually finger licking chicken. We just got the measurements missing. I'm spitting eggs and begs, begging the question lesson. I've said it before, time after time. I'm the spitting flat earth king of rhyme. If the earth was flat, we would measure it flat. We measure it flat, so earth is flat. And I'm spitting facts about that. You might not like that. You can't assume earth a sphere by circular reasoning, but when you measure it flat, it contradicts that. I'm spitting flat facts and that. And I know you don't like that. And I'm spitting it flat and that. If the earth was flat, we will measure it flat. We measure it flat, so earth is flat.
With that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So another massive thank you to today's Discord G+ panels. Massive thank you to all of you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley. Be sure to hit me up on PayPal and Patreon, and I'll see you all in the next video.